So let's jump straight into it, looking at the multi-trillion-dollar opportunity that I believe Bitcoin currently finds itself in. If we just look at the BTC price year-on-year chart here, we'll just give a little bit of background, because as we are all very much aware, throughout 2025, Bitcoin made a number of new all-time highs, finally peaking on October the 6th at around $126,000 on that intraday high. But it didn't really feel like it. And what we can see by the BTC price year-on-year chart is throughout this most recent bull market, every single time we made a new all-time high, the year-on-year growth was actually declining, similar to what we saw in the 2021 double peak cycle, where we had this secondary push towards, well, close to $70,000. But it didn't really feel like we'd really gained a lot of traction. Sure, the US dollar price was higher, but it didn't feel euphoric like new all-time highs do. And I think that's for a few reasons, but mainly because other assets, comparable assets to Bitcoin, were also rising fairly rapidly. If I just go into the TradingView chart here, what we can see, this is Bitcoin priced in the S&P 500. And if we actually look, we can see that during that 2021 cycle, even though we made a new USD all-time high, the secondary high was actually much lower when priced versus the S&P or US equities. And that's because when we look at Bitcoin through just the lens of a debasing currency such as the US dollar, it can sometimes give a false sense of strength, because if you're measuring something that's gaining traction versus something that's losing 3, 4, 5+% every year, then of course you'd expect it to continue to make ground against that. But if everything else is rising at a faster pace, it can feel a little underwhelming. So what we can see is this new, most recent cycle wasn't significantly higher than those previous peaks. And we can actually see the most recent low that we set at around $60,000 on the USD chart wasn't significantly above the all-time high we set back here in 2017. Now, these charts are incredibly popular amongst larger funds and those who are managing significant portfolios looking to allocate strategically into the assets with the strongest and highest relative strength. So if we look at something like Bitcoin versus the NASDAQ, which is probably the most direct equity competitor to Bitcoin, given the fact that it's a tech equity index, we can see that currently, as I film this, we're actually beneath the 2017 all-time high. So on the USD chart, which topped out at about $19,000 in 2017, now nearly 9 years later, if you'd have bought the NASDAQ at this exact peak as opposed to just buying and holding Bitcoin, you'd have actually outperformed Bitcoin, which is pretty shocking, to be honest. I mean, hopefully, with the data that we provide through Bitcoin Magazine Pro, you've been able to at least somewhat strategically dollar cost average in a little bit more aggressively towards the lows and scale out slightly more aggressively towards those peaks. But realistically, for a vast majority of those invested within the Bitcoin space, they're simply buying and holding or blind dollar cost averaging. And when you look at charts like this, it can really, open your eyes to the fact that while Bitcoin is, of course, gaining ground on US dollar terms or fiat currency terms, on a more macro basis, we can actually see that we've actually struggled for a fairly long period of time against other indexes. Now, if we look at Bitcoin versus gold, we can see we barely made a new all-time high this cycle, just fractionally above the highs that we set in this 2021 peak. And if we look at Bitcoin versus silver, we can actually see that we bottomed out in this most recent cycle with a lower low than we set in the 2022-2023 bear market, which is pretty crazy to think that if you bought Bitcoin at the exact dollar bottom, somewhere around $15,500 in 2022, and then held, you'd have actually lost money compared to buying silver at that exact day. At least until the most recent low, we can see we've actually been gaining some traction. But what I wanted to relate this back to is an article that I've written for not only Bitcoin Magazine Pro subscribers, but also the 2036 print edition of the Bitcoin Magazine, which is looking at this black hole of liquidity and how much Bitcoin is actually taking up of global wealth. Because as much as we've grown and come a long way, going from a fraction of a dollar up to well over $100,000, we can see that Bitcoin currently represents only around 0.25% of global wealth, which is just a smidge under $500 trillion. Now, again, within this article, I outline the comparison of Bitcoin versus the US dollar and Bitcoin versus gold. And what we can see, while many people have pointed towards this most recent Bitcoin bear market and said, well, it's only been a few months, we actually peaked in October. If you measured in terms of relative purchasing power, we actually peaked in late 2024 with significantly lower gains and therefore have been in a well over a year-long bear market. So I think it's interesting to look at these relative purchasing power comparisons to try and gain some insight into if Bitcoin can continue to claim new all-time highs, as it does every single cycle. How might that look? Now, why am I still bullish on Bitcoin? If we can see on these relative purchasing power charts, maybe we've underwhelmed to some extent. Well, if you look at those most recent cycle, it was during, I don't want to say bearish macroeconomic conditions, but certainly not bullish. If we look at the federal balance sheet, we can see it was during a massive period of contraction for the entirety of this most recent Bitcoin bull market. Now, this recently has changed. We can see governments, and especially the US, just absolutely love printing. They love adding assets to their balance sheet. And recently, this has been climbing fairly aggressively to the upside. And this is just setting up more and more favorable macroeconomic conditions. I mean, if we look at global M2 versus Bitcoin, for example, again, we can see over the past few months and year or so, it actually spent a lot of time going sideways, actually contracting, as we maybe saw a little bit of fiscal responsibility throughout global central banks. But if history is any indication, this isn't really going to last much longer. And if we look at the US national debt, this has now exceeded the size of the US economy for the first time since World War II. We can see that this American public debt has currently reached $31.27 trillion, bigger than the actual GDP of the country, which is 31.22, exceeding 100% for the first time since 1946. Betting against Bitcoin is betting for fiscal responsibility and sane monetary decisions by the US government, by global central banks. And personally, I fail to see it. What we need to consider, though, is Bitcoin isn't just looking towards exceeding fixed targets. I know people look at Bitcoin as a digital gold, and can we surpass this $35 trillion market cap that gold currently is? Well, if you look to 2024, the gold market cap was around $20 trillion less. It gained over 10 times the Bitcoin market cap in just over a couple years. And this is one thing we need to take into consideration, that the global wealth is rapidly accelerating to the upside. So if we just measure Bitcoin versus the US dollar, we maybe not be gaining as much traction as we might ideally like. We can see here that given the compounded annual growth rate of the largest contributors to the global wealth, that in about 2036, this is likely to increase by about 75% to over $860 trillion, which is just a mind-blowing amount of capital. Now, of course, this is based on historical trends and, of course, a black swan event that might cause some delays or some lags, or another COVID event will, of course, throw a spanner in the works of this trajectory. But regardless, the trend is clearly in one direction. We explore this much more in depth in this article that I'd written and had published. I wish I had the magazine on me. I have seen it. It looks amazing. It looks great. But if we just go back to TradingView here, what we can see is if we just look at Bitcoin versus the S&P, we can almost work backwards to give some, I don't want to say fair valuations, but some immediate targets for the price action. So we can see here the most recent all-time high we set in this cycle versus the S&P was 19.64, indicating that one Bitcoin exchanged for S&P 500 indices, however you want to say, would be the equivalent all-time high. So SPX times 19.64 would mean that Bitcoin would have to reach approximately $141,000 just to match that previous all-time high. Now, it gets more extreme with all of the other indexes and commodity comparisons. If we look at the NASDAQ, we can see 5.38. So if we go NDQ times 5.38, then again, we can see $148,000 very quickly with gold. And this is, again, looking at just the previous cycle all-time high at 37.1. If we go gold times 37.1, which went on a parabolic rally, this would take Bitcoin to about $167,000 just to reclaim the highs that we set 5 years ago. So I think these are incredibly realistic targets. I'm not predicting exactly where the price is going to be because these are moving targets as well. But again, if we look to silver, which I think is probably the most fair comparison in terms of assets we should be looking towards overtaking, given the fact that gold is a well over $30 trillion market cap and silver's somewhere around 3 to 5 depending on the current price. So I think if we can overtakes silver, then that's the nearest and most direct comparison. And we can see that the most recent high in this cycle was silver times 3546.31, which should give us a Bitcoin price of over $250,000. And that would have actually peaked at around $430,000, which, again, maybe we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves here. But it just shows the potential that not just Bitcoin has, because with these assets, we're talking about assets that are trillions of dollars bigger and multiple times bigger than Bitcoin itself. And these all show that they can go parabolic, that these have the strength and the capability to increase their market cap many, many folds, many, many times the market cap of Bitcoin itself in a very, very short and compressed period of time. Now, even though the previous cycle may have been underwhelming by some metrics, I'm still very, very bullish on the opportunity that Bitcoin has, especially now that we're seeing the macroeconomic conditions starting to be a little bit more favorable. And the fact that since we've actually bottomed out in terms of the USD price in Bitcoin and the local low we said around $60,000, we've been gaining massive ground versus pretty much all of these comparable benchmarks. We can see versus gold, we've reclaimed over 45% relative purchasing power. And even though the S&P 500, which has been going absolutely crazy to new all-time highs, not SPX, we can see it be going absolutely crazy during a time in which people are becoming more and more bearish, geopolitical uncertainty, people unaware of what new tweet's going to come out of the White House that's going to turn markets into turmoil. Market conditions that almost everyone would have anticipated Bitcoin to struggle in, we can see we've been outpacing everything. Now, this isn't necessarily indicating a true decoupling, but it's showing that even now, in times of uncertainty, people are starting to realize the potential of Bitcoin. So just to summarize, Bitcoin is slowly but surely obtaining a larger and larger share of global wealth, even in spite of recent negative price action. We're definitely trending in the right direction, and consider we're only around 1/4% of all global wealth. This is a monumental opportunity. Even if we can only claim 1 to 2% in the next few years, that's still an incredible amount of market share. And the actual underlying price of Bitcoin due to that, given the fact that, again, these aren't fixed targets, over the next 10 years, we're likely to see global wealth increase by close to $400 trillion in its own. It's a monumental opportunity. And we can see that we need to look through lenses like this rather than just pure USD or fiat speculation, because we can see we set new highs in 2025, but it certainly didn't feel like that. If we look at Bitcoin versus comparable assets like gold, like silver, like equities, we can really see the true relative purchasing power of these assets. And I think this is one of the main problems with a lot of the analysis that we're seeing. We're measuring the right thing, which is Bitcoin, versus the wrong thing, which is fiat. If you actually look at Bitcoin's data as to when we were topping out and getting incredibly overbought and maybe should have considered rotating to other assets, that was around late 2024, when in terms of relative purchasing power, it's when the cycle really topped out. So I think we're definitely going to be going down that route here at Bitcoin Magazine Pro to try and gain further insights, again, not just into the speculative dollar figure associated with Bitcoin, but its true relative capital strength versus comparable assets. Now, of course, if you liked this, do check out the Bitcoin Magazine Pro site subscriber list, where you can gain access to the industry reports, such as the Bitcoin Black Hole, which we published recently, and a hell of a lot more stuff, industry reports, typical sales pitch, but as well as that, the 2036 edition of the Bitcoin Magazine, the print physical edition, will be coming to public hands in the not too distant future. And if you would like a copy of that, then do head to the Bitcoin Magazine site, where you will find, once you purchase this magazine, an article by yours truly, which I'm very proud of, and it was very fun to write. And even if you just look at the pretty pictures, I'm sure you'll enjoy it. So as always, thank you all very much for watching. Leave your comments down below and on social media. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.